testimonies inconsistent, Mr. Tate?
The testimonies were not inconsistent. I was merely confused. Her right eye is my left side, and that's all. Everyone gets confused sometimes, Scout.
What makes your testimony strong and believable?
My testimony is as strong as believable as they come. That mishap with the eye was merely a mistake. Listen, Scout, I want the same thing as your father, all right?
What are your thoughts on this case? How do you think the jury will decide?
I believe there will be a fair verdict. The jury seems fair enough. I think whoever is guilty will be convicted as such. Now run along, Scout. This is no trial for you to be asking questions about.
What makes your testimony strong and believable, Mr. Robinson?
My testimony is strong because of the many holes in Miss Mayall's testimony. She contradicted herself quite frequently, and there is the fact that I could not have possibly even done what I am accused of. I only wanted to help and had no intention of harming her.
What do you think of the other witnesses' testimonies?
I believe she was mistaken in her mind. She has lived a harsh life under very strenuous conditions, and that may have had an impact on her mentality. I feel mighty sorry for her, but I don't think the jury believed me.
How is the jury going to decide?
I'm hoping that they see the truth in my testimony, but I'm not so sure they will. You know I'm innocent, right, Miss Scout?
I hope they do too, Tom. I hope they do too.
Why were the testimonies inconsistent? Were there any weaknesses?
Inconsistencies? Weaknesses? You be sounding like that lawyer now. There ain't no weaknesses because there ain't no lies in my story, like in the one that man was telling. If anything, his story's the weakness, trying to place the blame on me for what he did.
You mentioned Atticus before. Would you elaborate on your thoughts here?
Atticus is less than the dirt beneath my boots. Did you see the way he treated me during the trial? Mocking me and trying to intimidate me into telling a story that wasn't true? Putting my private life on display for all the folks in Macomb to gossip about? He's manipulative, Scout, and that is all he is, an abusive, manipulative scum like the man he's defending.
What are your thoughts on this case? What do you think the jury's decision is going to be?
My thoughts on this case? I think I'll get my justice here. If the jury can't hear the truth in my words, then they be deaf. There ain't no way that they could have seen a shred of innocence in that Negro, and with him suggesting I was mistaken, there ain't no way. Now why are you asking all these questions now, Scout? Run along, I have better things to attend to. Why were the testimonies inconsistent?
I don't think they were inconsistent, just misremembered. Mayall is just being emotional, that's all. Mr. Tate and Mr. Evil did a mighty fine job of explaining the situation. They just had different perspectives of what they saw.
What is your opinion of Mr. Atticus?
Atticus, he's stupid for taking a case he knows he will not win. There's no evidence or even a second witness suggesting that Tom Robinson is anything but guilty.
What are your thoughts on this case? How do you think the jury is going to decide?
This is a fairly simple case. That Negro Tom Robinson is guilty for raping Mayella Ewell. Both of my other witnesses are saying similar testimonies, and all the evidence is adding up. The jury will most definitely say that Tom Robinson is guilty.
What is your strongest point in Robinson's defense?
I believe that my strongest point was that the jury should ignore the fact that Tom Robinson is a black man and do their duty. In terms of physical evidence, Tom is right-handed and Mayalla's face was testified to be mostly beaten on the left. Tom also has a deformed arm from a cotton gin accident. He could barely place his hand on the Bible during the sworn testimony.
What is your opinion of Mr. Gilmer?
He's just doing his job, just like everyone else. There isn't anything personal about it.
How do you think the jury is going to decide?
It doesn't matter. The black defendant may be innocent, but the jury will always side with the white man, even though it ought to be their duty to give a fair trial to everyone.
Thanks!
Why were the testimonies inconsistent?
They weren't. We went over this again and again in the courthouse. You were there, weren't you? There weren't nothing I said in there that I wouldn't tell everyone again. That Negro took advantage of my girl, and if they don't see that, they be blind.
What's your opinion of Mr. Finch?
Mr. Finch. Why you mentioning him? He ain't nothing but a Negro lover who thinks he can change the whole town with his shenanigans. About as bad as his client he is, shaming his whole family too. Lucky ain't something happened to them already.
What are your thoughts on this case? How do you think the jury will decide?
I think this is nonsense. My Mayo was taken advantage of by that Negro, and ain't nothing is going to stop me from getting what he deserves. I think this jury has an easy decision ahead of them.
I like turtles.
Chunga, 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 chunga. He'll go chunga, 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 chunga. Chunga hoo, chunga bigga, chunga hoo, chunga bigga, chunga hoo. Banga chunga, banga chunga, banga
China.